Matt here again, and today I'm going to give you a tour of this 2015 R-Pod 179. This 20-foot trailer is great for a couple or even a couple with a kid. Today I'm going to give you a full tour of this great little RV. I'll start by showing you the outside, and then I'm going to take you inside and also show you some of the really cool upgrades that this owner has done to this particular RV. And it just so happens that this RV is for sale. So if you are interested in buying it, leave a comment below and I can certainly get you in touch with the owner. So as I mentioned, we're going to start with a tour of the exterior of this little R-Pod. Really great little trailer. And as we walk around here, let's have a look at some of the features. We'll start from the door side. So you can see that you do have some receptacles for anything that you want to plug in outside. We've got our black tank flush right over here. And we do have some storage outside as well. And this is the storage that is under the bed. It's only accessible from the outside, but as you can see, a decent amount of space in here, and it actually extends quite far all the way to the other side of the trailer. This is actually an upgrade that the owner put in. So the storage used to just go to this first piece of, or the second piece of plywood that you can see in there. The owner actually extended it a little further back, and that gives a little bit more space for some of those really long items that you want to transport with you. So as we walk around the trailer here, you'll see that the battery for this RV is located on the hitch. And it does come with a propane tank as well. So from the factory, this comes with a 20-pounder. The owner has actually upgraded that to a 30-pound propane tank. You can see the hardware here for the weight distribution hitch, which the owner has purchased for this trailer. And just by the way, the owner of this trailer is actually pulling the trailer with a minivan. So the dry weight for this particular RV is pretty impressive. It's a nice lightweight trailer at only 2,700 pounds dry weight, which means that you can pull it with a minivan. So you don't need to get one of those big trucks in order to be able to make use of this RV for camping. So let's continue around the outside. So we've got another light at the front here. So any of the work that you're doing at night to set up your trailer, no issues. You can turn on your exterior lighting. If we continue around the back here, we've got our hot water tank over here, and that runs off 120 volt or propane. We've got our city water connection right here, and we've also got our freshwater fill tank right here. We've got our drainage for the winter, and then we have our black water drain right here. And if I continue around over to this side, we do have the gray water connection over on this end. One known issue with this model of R-Pod is the possibility of the slide out wall sagging over time due to the weight of the slide out. The fix to this is to add additional support by installing outriggers, and this owner has taken the time to get 6 custom steel outriggers fabricated and installed to avoid this issue, as you can see here. The owner also replaced the torsion axle in 2020, and while doing so added a 2-inch lift to provide more clearance for the plumbing. One of the great things about this trailer is it does come with a slide out, and for such a small trailer this is rare. And this slide out is neat because it extends almost the full length of the trailer, which means you get a lot more interior space. So as we work our way around to the back, we do have our cable and satellite connections, which you can see right here. We also have our 30 amp power connection here, and if we come around the back, we've got our spare tire. And if you do pull that spare tire off, you could also put a bike rack in there. So we see some hardware for the bike rack up here that the owner was using. One of the known issues on these R-Pods is that there seems to be missing some floor reinforcements near the kitchen area at the back here. So this owner has actually added some of this angle iron that we can see here in order to reinforce that floor. So that's a great little upgrade. The other thing to note on the outside of the trailer is that you do have some exterior speakers on both sides here, and there's a stereo system inside. So that's a good little feature to have. So now that you've had a look around the outside of the trailer, let's go in and take a look at what the inside has to offer. All right, so as we head inside, the first thing that you're going to notice is this really big kitchen area. And honestly, for the size of this RV, I was actually shocked at how much counter space you have in this RV. So you do have a 2-burner stovetop, nice propane stovetop. And then if we move over here, we've got a nice size sink, nice and deep, deeper than some typical RVs. And you can see like the counter space is really surprising here. When you look at all of the space that you have around, and you do have a number of receptacles that come all the way around the kitchen, so you can connect all of those appliances quite easily. Nice little window out of the back of the RV too, so when you're here doing dishes or cooking, you still get a view of the outside. Let's have a look at some of the storage space in the kitchen. So we'll start with this first cupboard, and this is under the corner, so it actually goes very deep back here. Tons of storage space, so really you're going to have room for absolutely anything that you'd want to bring along. And this owner has done another cool upgrade here. They've added some LED lighting on the inside of these cupboards. So next we've got a bank of drawers here, very nice. Lots of space for your utensils. And then another very large cupboard space. This owner has opted to put small containers in here, so you can kind of take out, if you wanted to put like spices in here or other things, you can easily take those in and out, and you don't have to worry about them moving around too much while you're traveling. More space down here, and you can see more of those LED lights that have been installed to make it easier to find things in those cupboards. And then if we pan over here, first thing you're going to notice is the microwave. Always a convenient feature to have for that fast cooking on the road. And then we do have our 3-way fridge, so this runs on propane, on 12 volt, on 120 volt. We have a look inside here. Nice, beautiful fridge. Little freezer on top here as well. And now let's continue around back to the main entry door, and we're going to find a ton more storage over here. So another cool thing that this owner has done is actually added some shelving into this cupboard. And if you've ever owned an RV, you know you could never have enough storage space, enough shelving. So that was a really great addition. We open up this next cupboard. Again, we've got some extra shelving space in there. Lots of space to store anything, your pantry items, or maybe you're deciding to put something else in there, but lots and lots of storage room in this RV. All right, as we continue to work our way around, I'll show you some of these things. So we do have a power slide. So there's our power slide functions. We've got our tank monitoring system. You can monitor your gray tank, your black tank, your freshwater tank, and your battery level. We've got some switches here for your water pump and your water heater. And then we do have the thermostat, and this controls the cooling, but the owner has also modified this so that it can control one of the outlets, which is located right down here. And what this owner has chosen to do is they like to use an electric heater, place it right down here, plug it in, and they're actually able to control it right from this thermostat. So that's a nice upgrade. But that being said, the RV does come with the built-in furnace that most RVs have as well. The only thing is the location of it is a little bit different, which is why they've opted to use electric heat instead. All right, so as we continue around, we see this beautiful wraparound dinette. And this is pretty unique. This is something that you typically only see in the R-Pods, but a lot of seating space on this. You could very comfortably fit 4 people on here. And of course, this also does convert into a bed. So in order to convert this into a bed, we would put this table down, we would take those back cushions and place them on top of this, and it would convert into something that's probably equivalent to a double bed, but I will double check that and leave a comment below. And really, depending on how you plan to use this RV, there's some flexible options. So one thing that this owner decided to do is they said, you know what, this table is a little bit too big for us. They're just a couple using the RV. They've actually decided to opt for a smaller table in this space. So I'll show you what that looks like now. So here's a look at what the RV looks like with the smaller table that the owner opts to use. And you can see that there's a little bit more circulation space around this table. It's nice and lightweight too, so very easy to move around. The other thing that they've opted to do is this section of the dinette was actually screwed to the ground, and what they've done is they've made it portable. So it can actually be moved right out of the way and allows a little bit more circulation space if you didn't want to bring this section at all. So depending on how you plan to use the RV, you might want to keep this section in, or you might want to just take it out and leave it behind. So looking at the top of the dinette, we have yet more storage space. So you're going to notice for a trailer of this size, there is no shortage of storage space. Another cool little addition that this owner has made is they've added some additional LED lighting on this side and that side. So if you want to turn off this harsh overhead lighting, this is dimmable lighting. So you can dim to any level and really get in the mood. I did want to give you a look at what this RV would look like without the table in place as well. That's a nice thing, that the table is quite portable, so you can decide to have it or not have it. If you don't have the table, it makes this area kind of into a nice little lounge couch area, so that's convenient as well. And something else that I didn't mention earlier, but one of the nice aspects of this RV is that even though there's a slide out that extends all the way from there over to here, when that slide out is in, you still have enough circulation space to get to the bed, to open up the bathroom door, so you can still access pretty much everything that you would normally access when the RV is open. So that's a pretty cool feature. A lot of the time when these slide outs come in, you suddenly lose access to some critical areas. Okay, so next let's have a look at the wet bath in this RV. And the owner's done quite a few of nifty modifications in this small washroom space to make it even more usable. And the first thing I'm going to point out is they've actually changed out the typical cheap RV plumbing for some real residential plumbing. So good shower head, good faucet, and they've made sure that all of these plumbing fixtures are accessible from the back too. So if you remember earlier, we were looking in this cupboard. If I pull out this shelf, there's a little access compartment that's velcroed in just like that. So nice and neat and tidy, but also make sure that that plumbing will also be accessible. The other thing that these R-Pods typically come with is a tiny little corner sink that sits right about here. Now the problem with that is it really does reduce the amount of space that you have to shower in this little wet bath. So they actually opted to pull that out completely, and of course they still have access to the kitchen sink to wash their hands, and it gives a little bit more space for when you're showering. Of course, they've changed out the shower curtain in here, and they've placed Velcro strategically around the proximity of this shower, so that when you are showering, that shower curtain isn't sticking to you. We all know that feeling, it's awful. All right, so next let's continue towards the bedroom. And the first thing I'll show you is, of course, more storage. So first thing we have is this nice big closet. So you can hang things in here. And this is another one of those spaces that, hey, if you wanted to, you could add some shelving in here as well to give you a little bit more space for clothes that you wanted folded. So really depends on how you want to use that. And then as we look down towards the bottom here, we've got lots of drawers where you can store all the rest of your clothing. And we also have a nice little stereo system in here, so that controls, or that sends music to your outdoor speakers, but also your indoor speakers, of which there's two. If I pivot around the side here, there's everything that you need in order to have a TV in here. This owner has opted not to have a television in here, so there's not a TV bracket, but there's all of the necessary connections, the power, the cable, the satellite, in order to add a television if you wanted to. So the next thing that we're going to look at is this bed at the back. And this is an RV queen, which is nice because oftentimes some of these small RVs will just have a double bed, and that can be pretty cramped if you're 2 people on there. The owner actually has changed out this mattress as well. If you've had an RV before, you'll know that the mattresses that come with an RV right off the lot are usually pretty uncomfortable, so they have upgraded that mattress as well. Got some nice windows at the back here. And then if we look under the bed, there's actually some more storage. So another really clever thing that this owner has done is they've added a set of containers that you can very easily pull, and you can see they're connected by a string. So you not only get your first container, you get that second container out as well. Really convenient for storing some additional items. Now, I did mention to you earlier, if we move these containers out of the way, this is the one thing that I find a little strange about this particular setup, is that the furnace is actually located right under here. And that's kind of dark, so you're probably having a hard time seeing that, but you can just trust me, that's where it's cranking the heat out from. And this is why this owner has opted to not use that quite as much and just plug in an electric heater right over on the other side for most of their RV travels. So I keep getting excited to show you all of the cool little upgrades that this owner has made to their RV, and one of the things they noticed is that there was a rough unfinished edge on the side of the bed. So what they've done is they've created this little edge, covered it in a nice fabric that matches the rest of the trailer. So normally, out of the box, this is what it would look like, unfinished edge. So they've made that upgrade, and what they've also done is they've modified the bed platform to make the hot water tank and the furnace area a little bit more accessible. So they've made a cut here part way through, and if we lift that up, you could much more easily access the hot water tank valves, which is really handy when you're trying to winterize your RV in the wintertime. So hopefully that answered most of your questions about this RV, but if you do have any questions, anything that I didn't answer in this video, leave a comment below. I'll do my best to get back to you. And like I mentioned, this RV does happen to be for sale, so if you are interested in buying it, you can also leave a comment below, and I'll do my best to get you in touch with the owner. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It really does help us out. And don't forget to come back tomorrow to see where we go next.